All right, aloha and welcome to those of you watching this in the future. This is another one of our conscious creator work periods presented through Paradigm Shift Central. Again, this is a super awesome, amazing team of conscious media creators and leaders, people who are coming together so we can develop our skills, so that we can evolve as entrepreneurs, so that we can increase our global impact. If you guys are brand new to this, you can check the links down below to be able to connect to our Discord channel, and you can also check out my Patreon where you can learn more about becoming a leading member. That's how you get involved with these work periods, plus joining our weekly podcast, access to me as a conscious media creation coach. And again, for those of you brand new, my name is Brendon. I've been creating conscious media for over 10 years. I've got a lot of experience in this. And one of my primary focuses right now is helping support other people in developing their skills as conscious media creators, which is exactly what we are doing here today, once again. So if you're new to these, please feel free to check out the other work periods. Seriously, every single time you listen to it, it will get the gears spinning. You'll start opening up your mind and your heart to some new ideas. And so if you're looking to evolve as a conscious media creator, please, by all means, those are all available for free. And again, join on Patreon if you would like to be able to get the additional benefits and support, and we would happy to be able to have you here. So with that said, I am joined once again by some fellow amazing leading members here within our community. We have Aizo and we have Curtis. So you guys want to just wave to the future there? So, perfect. Awesome. All right. So with that said, we're going to get into checking in with Aizo and Curtis about some specific things. And I'm going to be mentioning some things at the top of the broadcast, which we've already spoken about off the recording. So this is relevant to things that they're already going to be asking about. And then we'll just get some additional clarification. And again, with these meetings, usually what I try to do, I try to have like at least like 15 minutes at the beginning where it's just me talking about some general tips. So that's what we're going to start off with. One of the things we're going to start off with is going to be related to some basic information on hashtag tactics, how hashtags work on Instagram and Discord differently, and just to be able to give some people some basic ideas on there. Because I know a lot of people, if it's not something you've been educated on, then you probably don't really have a clear view on how to be able to utilize them. So we'll talk about that just a bit. I'm honestly not an expert on hashtags, but I can give you what I know. From there, I just wanted to be able to hit upon a couple other things, including how to be able to optimize setting up for a live broadcast. And this is something that Curtis was asking about. Plus, again, for anybody here, you know, I want you guys to be able to work towards getting ready to do those regular live broadcasts. As we've talked about, those are some of the best ways to be able to engage in your relationship with your audience. You're in that one-to-one moment, you're talking to them, you're asking and answering questions, you're doing tarot, you're doing meditation, whatever it may be. And then those become a lead-in back to further engagement within your community, such as your Discord and your Patreon as well. So I'm going to be talking about that, specifics about like how to be able to utilize things like a LinkTree, how to be able to utilize going on YouTube and then going on TikTok and then bringing people over to YouTube, or from Instagram over to YouTube as well. And just a couple other tips and tricks. Then from there, I just wanted to be able to hit upon some things that we were just mentioning earlier before the recording, just about being able to get into the mindset of worthiness and really starting to change the way we see money and how we can ask for money, and seeing it more as, again, just a general form of currency in the terms of energy, a literal current. So we'll talk a little bit about that, just to be able to get you guys in that mindset, because that's obviously super important to help you in sharing your value. And then from there, we'll kind of open up, we'll check in obviously with the other creators here, and we're also going to hit upon some things related to routines and schedules, how to be able to set up some sort of consistent flow when it comes to content creation and live broadcasts. And then from there, we'll get into some other topics as well, based on even just kind of like how to be able to create the space externally to be able to get into the creative habits, and any other questions about live meditations and broadcasts. If you guys are watching this in the future, please feel free to let us know. Leave a comment in the YouTube. It's always appreciated. I'm always curious to know who's watching these when you guys get a chance. Side pro tip, listen to these while doing something else. Listen to these while like sweeping your apartment or something like that. Or just, you know, even if you're out exercising, like seriously, like I literally take these and I will often re-listen to them while playing basketball, just so I can continue to kind of learn from them and get better at doing these for you guys in the first place. So diving right into this, going to be talking a little bit about, first of all, our next podcast coming up, which is going to be on Hollow Earth, spiritual wisdom of Hollow Earth. We're not going to talk about that too much right now, but I did just want to remind people who are watching this in the future that we do have a regular graphic that we make. And if you guys would like to be able to utilize that graphic to be able to make a TikTok video using the green screen video effect, please just send me a direct message. You don't have to be a leading member. This is an invitation to anybody who's watching this. If you guys want to help promote it, send me that. You can create your own video, direct people back to our community. Super, super appreciated. So, and side note, if you guys are feeling like you're called called to join on air for the Hollow Earth podcast, feel free to do your research ahead of time and let me know in the team chat as well. So with that said, we're going to be moving into hashtag tactics. So hashtag tactics are something that are super, super important to utilize, especially when it comes to TikTok. TikTok is essentially set up in such a way where the hashtags basically tell the computer, tell the AI where to send your content. So unlike Instagram, it's a slightly different. Like I said, I'm not a full expert on hashtags. I know there's obviously like ones out there, but the point is you want to be able to find ones that are going to fit your niche and not to use ones that are too obscure. And when it comes to TikTok, this is what I'll be able to talk about more specifically. What you want to do, I would recommend, is run some searches on specific hashtags that relate to your genre. And then from there, in TikTok, we'll pull up the most popular videos. So you want to keep it like fairly general, but you can get more specific with it. So for example, run some hashtags on spiritual awakening, spirituality, spiritual, light worker. Run some hashtag searches on those in TikTok. Not only will it put you in touch with new creators that you might not have otherwise had seen yet, but what you want to do is you literally want to look at some of those top videos and you want to at least start looking at some of the hashtags that they're using. And so once you kind of start doing that, you can start getting an idea. You can start even building a list in an offline document. So literally just something on your desktop, or maybe you're just sending it to yourself in your mobile phone. And then from there, what you want to be able to do as a quick little side note is that when you're creating your posts on TikTok, you can fit in as many hashtags as you choose to be able to put into it. This is like a little side tip, but hey, this in itself is worth $10 a month if you use it, is to be able to enter your hashtags, and instead of leaving a space between the end of one hashtag and the next hashtag, literally go back, delete that space, and it'll just move everything a little bit closer, which could add to putting in one or two more hashtags by the end of it, even if they're just the short little ones. So if you feel like you're like adding all these hashtags and you're like, oh, I forgot to add this one, maybe if you just delete those spaces, you might have room for it. Because again, that's what is happening here with the TikTok algorithm. I'm not going to go too into this, but we'll hit upon it in as much a way that I can right now in a few short minutes to give you guys an insight so you can utilize this. Is again, you want to make sure that the hashtags that you're using are ones that are actively being used. So when you enter in hashtags on TikTok, you enter it in and it'll tell you how many people have previously used it. Therefore, this may sound obvious, but again, that's why we're doing it. Make sure everybody's on the same page. Do not use a hashtag on something that only has like 300, 500,000, even less than like 5,000. That's not huge. You really want to be able to find the bigger ones because those are the ones that are actively being used. And the way TikTok works is that other people who have engaged with videos using those hashtags will likely see your video through the algorithm system, because it's basically them telling the system, hey, I like videos that have hashtag meditation. And then when you use hashtag meditation, it's sending your video to other people that have watched videos with hashtag meditation. So if you do something completely obscure like hashtag chair, like I'm just like looking like I'm looking at it, so it's like that's an idea. Hashtag lamp, like hashtag like computer mouse. Like stop using incredibly obscure things that nobody's searching that, like nobody's looking that up. I know that sounds obvious, but sometimes you see it where I think part of that is almost the hashtag habit that came from, maybe it was Twitter or maybe even like Facebook, where we would use hashtags that would almost be like phrases or expressions, or like hashtag having a good day, like hashtag you don't know what I'm talking about, hashtag mind your own business. I don't know, like didn't we used to do that? We used to like use hashtags as like a way to like tell people something or something. So that's not how the hashtags work in TikTok. So we have to lose that habit. And we want to make sure that the hashtags that are specifically referring to a genre, are referring to an audience, are referring to a specific thing that people are constantly engaged with. So you will get a kind of a consistent list of hashtags. You probably, if you're specific to a niche, you probably might end up having maybe like less than 20 hashtags that you kind of always work through. And then you have specific hashtags for things that you're creating specific content about. So this is where you get a little bit of control over who your content is reaching and the success that that is creating. So say, for example, if you're creating videos about like, spirituality and everything like that, that's awesome. But then if you have a particular video where maybe say it's you promoting jewelry that you're making or a wire wrap, use hashtag crystals, hashtag wire wrap, because that's going to send it out to that audience as well. So make sure that it's, again, this sounds kind of obvious, but that is really, really important. there are times where the hashtags and the way they work is kind of mysterious. It seems like it can be almost like a dice roll, where even if you just use like one or two hashtags, it may still suddenly send it out en masse. So it's kind of like, and again, this is my assumption, where like the hashtags are almost divided based on how many hashtags you have. Like the energy that your post has will be divided based on the hashtag. So if you strategically only put hashtag spiritual, hashtag light worker, that will kind of reach that specific demographic. But if you do it more specific, then maybe it's kind of like spread out throughout those demographics. That's my assumption. That's how I would like naturally make sense. So there will be times where you basically, all I'm doing is encouraging you to play with the hashtags, but to play with them intelligently. Don't waste your hashtags is the moral of this story. Do not waste your hashtags on obscure things that aren't being searched. You should always use some hashtags. There are the odd times where if you want to try experimenting with no hashtags, it can work. One thing, this is a side tip. This is not something that a lot of people know about. When you create a video within TikTok and you include text on screen, I don't know how it works exactly, but whatever text you add in onto your video within the editing software in TikTok, that information is included into the metadata for the video, meaning that if you use the words, I know this because I know that it does this to monitor like specific words. Say if it's like a word like weed or mushrooms or something like that, there's certain words that like if you put that in the thing, it might send it into an algorithm and then it might kind of change the way it gets sent out. So this is where like sometimes if you see people talking about weed on a video, they'll spell it like W33D. So it's not like that. But I mean, maybe the algorithm doesn't recognize it. I don't know. But my point is you could literally have a video with no hashtags, put in some keywords there, and then theoretically, I think those keywords enter into the metadata. Excuse me. And that could affect where your video is going sent out. But last thing I'll say here, and I want to be able to move along, even though obviously I guess there is enough to talk about hashtags that we could go dive deeper into this, and we'll have to do it on another episode. But one thing that I was going to specifically, sorry, oh, hold on. Actually, I think I did just lose my train of thought there. One thing that I was going to say, oh, this is what I was going to say. There is because this is from my experience, there is a possibility that sometimes if you don't use hashtags for whatever reason, the algorithm will just pick it up and send it to a completely random audience. This actually happened with one of my videos on my Project Hierophant side account. That's, if you guys haven't seen that, it's just like graphics and voice things that I do that are meant to inspire people. One of the videos I didn't use a hashtag on it, but it's the most viral video on that account. However, and I'm telling you this is a heads up, most of the audience that it's ended up sending it out to was like anime nerds. For whatever reason, I don't know why, like for some reason, somewhere along the path, it got picked up by a bunch of anime nerds and then it kept sending it out to anime nerds. So just be aware that if you want to reach some anime nerds, the dice roll is there. If you strategically want to create a video with no hashtag. And I've seen people do that where they'll literally create a video and be like, this video has no hashtags. If you found it, it's divinely inspired to meet you, synchronicity and stuff like that. But seriously, the way how you kind of have to look at the way hashtags work, it's a way for you to interface with the synchronicity of the algorithm. Is essentially how it works. So this is really, really important because you need to make sure, this is a general idea, but very important for all of us as creators, we need to be ambassadors of our content. We need to be ambassadors of our content. We can't literally just like you could create the best video ever, but if you just upload it and then do nothing, it's just going to sit there. Like it might reach a few people, but you need to carry it with you. And you need to, use the right hashtags. You need to, and this is a tactic, you've seen me guys probably do this tactic where I'll direct people from my Instagram to my TikTok. I'll take a screenshot of the video and the title and I'll say new video exclusive on TikTok. And I'll post that to Instagram and Facebook, and then it will drive people from Facebook and Instagram. If they really want to see the video, they'll go to my TikTok and they'll see it there. So that's one thing you can do. And again, if you're creating those videos, it's not a bad idea to be able to re-upload them to Instagram and Facebook or wherever else, just to be able to help bring people in. But if it's something that you're doing as an exclusive to TikTok, you wait a few days and then you post it to Instagram as well. So that would basically just kind of be a bit of the summary for the hashtags. In a nutshell, don't not use hashtags. Be aware of the hashtags you're using. Run searches on hashtags that relate to your niche. pay attention to the popular videos and the hashtags they are using. Only use hashtags that have a decent enough reach already. Don't use obscure hashtags, and try to stick to a consistent grouping of hashtags that you tend to use repeatedly, because that will allow you to keep showing up repeatedly within that audience. So if I create a video that's like hashtag lightworker and people saw my video once on the FYP, but they didn't follow, it might send it out to them again because I'm still using that hashtag, and then they might follow. So you want to kind of keep, essentially what you're doing is you're maintaining a presence. Like that is a big part of our job as social media creators, is to maintain a presence. And how do we maintain a presence? In part by using hashtags. Now, again, real quick, in terms of the Instagram hashtags, I think they're starting to work similar to the TikTok. So honestly, I think whatever I said for TikTok can still apply for Instagram. However, the thing that's different is on Instagram, you don't see, when you type it in, it has no feature where if you type in hashtag spiritual, it'll tell you that 10 million people are following this. So what I would do is essentially take the popular hashtags that you're using on TikTok and bring those over to Instagram, assuming they're also going to be popular. With Instagram, however, you can add additional hashtags. So you can add more hashtags. And then the thing that's really powerful right now is, really quick, using the hashtags on the Instagram Reels. The hashtags on the Instagram Reels seem to be determining and working much like how they are the TikTok. And again, if you can create a good video and use good hashtags on your Instagram Reels, those videos could get surprisingly large reach. This is happening with several of my videos. It's building momentum for me. And again, those videos are bringing people back to the rest of my content. So every single video you make is, again, not only value in itself, but it's also an invitation for people to be able to connect with you further. So, I mean, just keep that in mind as a obvious side point. Thumbs up from you guys. Is that enough on hashtags for today? Does that give you some ideas and clarity? Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Aizo, for asking that question in the first place, which prompted me to give the overview there. So next thing we're going to move into real quick, and I just want to be able to keep an eye on the time. We always keep these under an hour, is setting up, again, setting up how to utilize, like, doing a live broadcast in a way that I've done, that I feel works quite well, in a way that you could do too, without really needing, like, you already have the tools at hand, is essentially what I'm saying. You don't need a heck of a lot of tech experience to be able to pull this off. So what I would recommend is the basic idea of being able to direct people to your YouTube if you're going live on a broadcast. Meaning, what you want to be able to do is use your Instagram or your TikTok as a secondary feed to redirect people to your YouTube. And the way how I would recommend doing this is to practice creating YouTube lives to begin with, which you can do right from your web camera, and just get that experience under your belt. Do some ones without anybody watching, just so you know how to click the buttons and set things up. It's pretty straightforward. And then from there, what you want to do is, before you go live, you grab that link. Like, what you do is you schedule it, essentially. This is part of the setup and the option. And you take that URL and you either do this, you either put that URL directly into your Instagram bio temporarily, or your TikTok bio temporarily. Or what you do is you take that link and you put it into, what you do is you set up what is referred to as a LinkTree. LinkTree is a website. If you literally just type up LinkTree, this will bring up the website itself. The exact address for LinkTree is LINKTR, and then there's a period EE. So it's like LinkTR period EE. So if you guys remember that, you can type that in. But if you don't have a LinkTree yet, that's incredibly useful. And it does go hand in hand with setting up a tactic that I'm about to explain here for the live broadcast. LinkTree is essentially, you've probably seen people use it. You've probably seen a lot of people who have already been putting it in their profile. It's essentially a place where you can create like a single page with links to your other things. So instead of just having one link to one video, what you can do is, when you're, for example, like just going back to the broadcast concept that we're talking here, you take your YouTube link, and then within your LinkTree, you already have lists to, you know, like your item shop, your Discord, your Patreon, your YouTube channel in general, maybe your Spotify, maybe any other things that you offer. But then right at the top of that LinkTree, just for the moment of your broadcast, you take that link before you go live, like you do this even half an hour before you go live, and you type in the LinkTree live now, and then whatever the title is. So that for me would be like live now, team meditation. You put that link there right in the top of the LinkTree, and it will be there temporarily as you are doing your live broadcast. It doesn't have to be there all the time. Another quick little tip is if you use there's emoticons that you can use, and I would encourage there's like a red circle emoticon that you can put in front of the word live now. Like if you find it on your keyboard, or if you find it in your phone, you could send it to yourself and then get it. But put that red circle on when you're typing in Linktree, you enter the link and then you type in what the title is. Put that red circle there and then put live now and then the title, because that red circle just tells the brain, it's like, oh, it's a live video. Like it just makes it stand out. Plus it makes it a little bit more professional and polished. So that's again, I do that. It's a little tip there. But again, just going back to this basic idea, get that Linktree, get it set up on your profile. There's no reason you shouldn't be using Linktree. There are other websites that do similar things. I recommend Linktree because it's the one that's most commonly used and most commonly recognized. And when people are browsing your profile on Instagram or TikTok, and if they see Linktree, they know what it is. And what you can do is you can keep Linktree in both of your TikTok and your Instagram profiles. And then what you're doing is you're editing the actual links within Linktree from your desktop on the side. So you don't have to change it in both. You just change it off the website on Linktree. And it's super easy. It's super easy to set it up. And it's incredibly useful. And it'll just help, again, when people land on their profile, they'll click to you and they click your Linktree and be like, oh, sweet, now I've got access to all the things that they want me to be able to know about. So you're going to direct people to that. And we can talk more about the Linktree setup specifically on another video, but just moving along here. What I would recommend doing is, again, if you're doing a video, what you want to do is you want to get the important links that you need posted into your YouTube video. I'm not sure if all profiles can do this, but there is the option on YouTube before you go live to be able to set up what are referred to as cards. Cards, if you see on YouTube's in the top right corner, there's like a circle sometimes, and that, like, you click it and something appears. It might be a playlist, it might be a website. You can set those up for your lives, and then what you could theoretically do is you could put your Patreon link right there. Again, I'm not sure if that's a feature that's only available after you have a certain amount of subscribers. I'll have to confirm that, but if you guys can double check that, look for it, add cards, and add in your Patreon link, because Patreon is recognized. Not all websites are recognized, but Patreon is recognized. And again, put your Patreon or whatever other links, your Discord, put those in the information for the YouTube. So this is, again, part of the reason why you're trying to bring people from the Instagram and the TikTok over to your YouTube, because that's where your links are going to be. And that's where you want them to be able to engage with, because that's how they're going to be able to connect further. So again, it's this migration, people. You're taking people across the river from TikTok and Instagram over to your YouTube, and then from your YouTube, it's just a hop and a skip for them to be able to join your Discord and your Patreon. And if they're live and engaged, it's easy for them to be able to be like, oh, this is something that I resonate with. So what I recommend in terms of the live broadcast, set up your YouTube link. Don't go live right away. Go live on TikTok and Instagram first. Go live there even for a few minutes, get things started. This is a side tip, and exactly what I was talking about yesterday. This is where, if you have two phones, you can literally go live on both platforms. But again, TikTok only allows lives once you have 1,000 followers, which is a nice milestone to aim for. And I'm confident that each and every single one of you will reach that milestone if you haven't already yet. Keep working at it. So if you can set up two phones, which again, I mentioned, like, go to your phone store, your provider, and just ask them, be like, hey, I'm looking at upgrading, or I'm wondering about, what options do you have? Just talk to them, because they'll sell you something cheap. They'll be like, oh, for $5 more a month, you can get a whole nother phone. You won't get 2 SIM cards, but you'll get a whole nother phone. Even if it's like a crappier model, that's okay. What you want is something that can run off Wi-Fi. So when you're in your house, one's off Wi-Fi, one's off Wi-Fi, but with your SIM, and then both are there positioned. Get some, and this is another simple trick. I'll show you guys the secrets for, let me just show you real quick here what I got. So if you're like, well, I haven't got one of those fancy tripods yet for my phone, what do I do? This is my pro tip. Use a roll of packing tape. Straight up, like 100%. Like, I've been using this for quite some time. I do have like a tripod. I do use it, but I don't have 2 tripods. So what you do is you take your phone and you put, like, look at that. Like, and then you just put it on the table, like 100%, guys. That just saved you like $100 right there. That's your Patreon subscription paid for itself right there. So, but anyways, moving along here, because I don't want to take up too much time, and it's been a little bit longer than I planned to. We're past 20 minutes. But what I was going to hit upon real quick is, again, just giving you the full overview here. If you can go live on 2 devices, go live on 2 devices. Go live on those devices first. Get a couple people there. And then on your other platforms, or even, again, for those of you who are leading members, if you're going live, this is the great benefit of being involved with a leading member. You post into the Discord and you let us know. If I happen to be online, I would happily tag everyone and let them know as well. And we'll invite them over. And that's, again, just having that like first group of people. That's exactly what we're here to do as community. That helps support. And then we can help populate your chat. There will be someone will be online. If it's not me, someone will be able to join. And then from there, you get things rolling. So again, you're live on TikTok and Instagram first, and then you're like, okay, we're going to go live in a few minutes. And then this is the important thing. Go live on YouTube and do it in a place where like you are like starting it with confidence. This is something that this is how you don't want to start a live. Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. And the live has just started now. And you're just like, is it working? Hello? Is it work? Oh, can you guys hear me? Like don't start a live like that. Like I've seen it, and no shame, right? Because like, especially if it's your first time, but that's where the test runs come in. Some people, I'm just like, they're like, ooh, like that's relatable. But that's part of the learning curve where once you've done it a couple times, you know that when you're live on YouTube, you're live on YouTube. So you literally click that button, you're live. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in. You're here for another X, Y, and Z. I'm your host, X, Y, Z. And and like da 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 da. And then you just kind of start creating a little bit of space as people join in. And at that point, you're literally talking to your YouTube, to your TikTok and your Instagram at the same time. For those of you on TikTok and Instagram, click the link in my profile and join in on YouTube with the rest of the team. That sounds familiar. That's because like I say it like a million times when I'm live, but it's going to work for you guys too. It's going to work for you guys too. And they're going to be like, ooh, like this is nice. I've been looking for a reason to get off like I've been scrolling TikTok for a while here. I'm going to jump over to YouTube for a bit. It's like a nice little vacation outside of the app for them, so to speak. So anyways, that's the basic idea that I just kind of wanted to be able to mention there. So make sure that when you're doing that, you're again, just kind of like setting things up where you can start your YouTube confidently, because again, when people go back and watch the recording, it's great for them to see that start of the video without it having those first 30 seconds of the uncertainty and everything like that. So it's just a little bit of convenience. It helps you get more into that professional mindset as well. And then from there, again, you just pretty much just whatever your meditation is, you just go with it. And I think having some sort of guideline where you're telling people what it is that they're about to experience is important. So that's where, again, for Curtis and for anybody else, if you guys are doing a meditation, as you're talking, just be like, hey guys, thank you so much. We're going to get started in the meditation in the next 5 minutes. The meditation will probably go for about like 10, 15 minutes. And then after that, we'll stick around and we'll chat for a little bit more. And then that's your itinerary, and that's where you finish it up. So just giving people who happen to be tuned in at the beginning a little bit of that idea, and then you create that bit of a structure. And again, you don't have to, I think it was sometimes, unless it's just a super casual TikTok, it's important to just kind of, add some kind of conclusion, some kind of ending. Guys, thank you so much. I'd love to be able to talk longer. We're going to save it for another broadcast, like leave them with something more to come back to. Tune in next time. And again, this goes back to the idea of what we're just segueing into, which is having a schedule, having a routine, super, super valuable for your live broadcast. Because again, beyond any sort of notification within TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube that tells people, remember, so-and-so is going live, is going to be people's ability to simply remember that in the first place. So if they know, because you've told them and because you've created posts about it on TikTok and Instagram and graphics using Adobe Spark and things like that, tune in every Wednesday for our live community XYZ, whatever it may be. And to the best of your ability, stick with that schedule. If you can do it once a week, do it once a week. I think that's plenty. That will give you something. And again, that gives you something to hype up. So when it's not that broadcast, it gives you something to hype up. And then after the broadcast, don't shy away from creating a little video where it's just like, thank you so much to everyone who joined in for the recent broadcast. I look forward to being able to see you guys next week. And even if it wasn't something that you were just like hopefully you had fun, but just make it sound like as exciting as you can in an authentic way. That way, so when people are watching that video, they're like, whoa, like I missed out on that party. Like I got to make sure I'm there for the next one, right? So give people a little bit to look forward to, remind them it's next week. In the meantime, be sure to click my profile link to be able to connect to our Patreon and my Discord, XYZ type thing. So in terms of having a live broadcast, I would say once a week is enough. However, if you do feel that you want to make a routine where this is where you get different types of broadcasts, some of them, which you should do, should be quite scheduled with an itinerary and a specific theme and a start and an end. However, don't shy away, especially if you're on TikTok. TikTok's really powerful for just jumping in every now and then to just be able to say hi to people and just be able to maybe put like a random topic, and the TikTok, when you go live there, it doesn't have to be recorded. It doesn't need to be recorded. It's just an in the moment thing. It's great practice for you. And it's a great way for you to just kind of connect with people, just kind of see if they have any questions, ask them questions. That's actually really powerful when you're on a live. What do you guys think? When did you have your awakening? Like, how often do you practice meditation? Asking them questions, get them engaged, get them responding to what it is. They like being asked questions, right? So like ask them questions and they'll start engaging with it. So my point is, if you have a once a week official broadcast that's on YouTube, that's great. In between that, don't shy away from going live on TikTok as much as you feel comfortable. That could literally be every night. If you're just like, well, I'm not busy, okay, I'm just going to make a schedule where I jump on, and maybe it's just, you literally set the time where it's a half hour. Maybe you're on there for 3 hours. That's up to you. Don't overdo it. Schedule it in a way that's healthy for you. Don't stay up too late and everything like that. But do it in a way where, again, even as you're doing it, you're also moving the needle forward, because you're developing relationships. Don't go live in a way where it's like, I mean, it's up to you. You can have lives where it's like super casual, and also it's fun to have some lives where it's like this is not me trying to like convince you guys to join my Patreon or anything like that. That's still talking. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind that as people get to know you, it is building a relationship that can invite them to your Patreon. And so this is the thing leading into the next part. And I'll just kind of finish up on this in terms of like the currency and the energy exchange, everything like that. Creating the routine and the schedule, I would say very simple for TikTok. If you can post once a day, great. If you can't post once a day, post as much as you can to once a day. If there are some days where you might post earlier in the morning and then later at night, that's okay too. Play around with it, but don't overpost. Don't post back to back, like 4 posts all in one day. Don't do that, because again, it kind of, like I was saying, almost like the hashtags, it kind of like sucks the reach energy, so to speak. Like where one video might have reached 1,000 people, if you post 4, each one reaches 250. Like I assume that's kind of how it works. It may, there's some fluctuality to that. But in general, yeah, if you can post once a day, that's great. Some videos will be shorter, some videos will be longer. Get in the habit of getting good at creating those short videos, especially for those days when you know you're just kind of like probably going to be too busy, or again, you'll know where your energy's at and everything like that. And to the best of your ability, create posts ahead of time that you could even schedule in and post later. If you're on a roll where you're like, hey, I've got a lot of ideas today, you guys know your work schedule. You might literally create like 4 videos in one afternoon or something like that. You could do that, or at least film 4 videos and then edit them later. You could do that. It can help, because then you just kind of get into that routine. Most of my content, I usually kind of like make it in the moment of, like, I don't have too many in my draft in any given moment. But I do plan ahead to some degree, but there are some days, and again, this gets into the creative process. I talked about this last meeting and everything, the importance of kind of creating the environment around you to be able to support yourself and being a conduit for this information, being a conduit and feeling the future, as I was saying. So make sure, to the best of your ability, this will support your creative process by making sure that you have an environment that is relaxing, that is, healthy, whatever that may mean to you, that is comforting, that is inspiring. Find a way to be able to make sure that space is there, because again, that space will create the incubation for the creative process in your room. Like, you guys know what it feels like when you're like, your room's really messy, and then it's just kind of like you finish cleaning it, and then your like desk is sitting there all clean, and you just kind of like sit down at your desk for the first time, and you're just like, like it almost feels nostalgic. Like it's kind of like, it's like, oh, I feel like I just want to like work on something creative right now. Like there's no other distractions. It's just me and my desk, be it a pen and paper, or be it a computer or something like that. But it does help. It does help. But again, just going back real quick, and then I want to be able to get into the other stuff. I know this took a lot. Is this good for you guys? Like, are you guys learning stuff out of this? This is valuable, right? Okay. Nothing that I'm saying isn't being said for a reason. This is, again, just kind of me showing up and the universe kind of doing what it can. But again, the intention here is to give you guys valuable information that will help you level up, that will help all of us level up and accelerate. And again, for those of you just getting started, this is valuable information that will lead you on a path towards, eventually having like 1,000 subscribers on TikTok in the near future. And then eventually it'll be 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. So you're getting yourself ready as well. The journey is already, feel the future. Like I said, it's already there. So, but this will help you get there sooner rather than later in a lot of ways, and just help you optimize. And that's what I want for you guys. So the other thing that I was just going to mention, again, in terms of being able to communicate. So yeah, like I said, creating a routine, creating a schedule for your lives, creating a routine for your general life, creating a healthy atmosphere, all very important to be able to create that meditative space. for reflection, for creativity. Surround yourself with things that inspire you. Watch movies and read comic books that inspire you. Like seriously, I encourage you guys to do that. Read comic books that inspire you, read books that inspire you, watch movies that inspire you. That's actually really important because it gives like the imagination things to feel with. Watch documentaries, watch YouTube videos. Like again, things that are gonna tune you in, not just tune you out, right? Like, ooh, that's a powerful way to think about it. Hey, do you want to tune out and watch some TV? No, man, I want to tune in and learn some knowledge on YouTube or wherever else you're watching it, right? Think about it that way, right? What are you going to tune into right now? So if you do that, that's going to help spark some really, really powerful inspiration for you in the long run, because it kind of like expands the canvas that you can start painting with in a lot of ways. So again, and that can be TikTok too. Tune into TikTok, straight up, tune into TikTok, look at what other creators are doing, take notes, get inspired. If there's something that you want to see there that you feel you could do a similar version of, find a way to do it, add your own flair to it, make it unique. If it's a general trend, a mimic, whatever. But again, don't shy away from being able to see a creator do something and be like, oh, I could do something similar, but you add your own flair to it as well, as long as it's not something that's like straight up, like they're like branded things, so to speak. But whatever it may be, if it's a general thing, absolutely, play with that idea and add your own spin to it. So again, just getting back to the idea of the currency and energy exchange, and then we'll wrap it up here. You guys got bonus today. That's what that was. So, but it's valuable. So in terms of the energy exchange and asking for money, everyone wants to talk about that. So again, I think a big part of that begins with just being able to acknowledge our value. And right now, each and every single one of us carries with us tons of value. Why? Because we have tons of experience as a human. You would not be who you are right now if you didn't have value simply in your experience alone. So you're still learning. That's great. You're still leveling up. You're still investing in yourself. You're still reading books. You're still watching documentaries. You're still going through your own experiences. That's great. You're learning from other coaches that, outside of me telling you anything. That's important too. And so again, with the idea of just being able to acknowledge that like your time is valuable because it is you putting your focus into something that you care about and something that you love. And so when you're putting your energy into something, you want to create a system where that energy is coming back. So it literally starts to look like a toroidal field where it's literally you kind of like putting energy in and then it kind of loops around and it comes back. So this is where you get into this idea of sacred commerce, is a term that I like to use. I don't know if somebody else, I've just called it that. Like, I don't know if somebody else called it that. Maybe, like it feels like it should be a term and everything like that. But sacred commerce is again about having a sacred relationship with the energy of the currency, of the money. Call it, if you want to, you just use the word currency, that's fine, because that's what it is. Energy, like money is an energy that allows us to do things. And so straight up, like, there's another lady who I listened to talking about this in a YouTube video, and it really resonated with me and a lot of people. And she was like, straight up, we have to open up our hearts and minds to the idea that the more people who are spiritually awakened, who have money, the sooner the world will accelerate in the collective shift in consciousness, because that money is going to go into inspiring other people, serving them, creating projects, creating charities, creating movies, creating videos, all of those things. You are a part of that. 100%. You are a part of that. You deserve to be able to create regenerative income that is going to support you in being able to do what you're going to do, because we need you to be able to keep doing this for the years to come as well. And absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Curtis, just again, being able to say, like, be patient with it. And again, guys, that's where with the model that I'm, giving you guys instructions on, it's a model that's worked for me. It took me over the course of 10 years to be able to really dial in on something. And now that I've done this, now that I figured out what didn't work and I figured out what has worked, I've created a model that can be mimicked by you guys, again, using the concept of creating presence, building conscious community, building a Patreon, et cetera, which we'll talk more about as we go. So again, just acknowledging that your energy is valuable, your time is valuable. And when you are spending time with people, that is, again, you not only providing entertainment, but you providing a service that is helping them grow, that is helping them evolve. And it is no different from any other service, no different from, any sort of like other thing that people would go to, like, investing in going into a school, or investing in going into other coaching programs, investing in, going to like a hockey camp, or investing going and working with doctors and things like that, whatever it may be. And so when you're working with your content, what you want to be able to do eventually is you want to be able to, like I said before, you want to be able to invite people people into supporting you, opposed to just asking. The process of inviting them is a very different vibration compared to just asking. And so just remember that, like, when you're coming from this place of invitation, you're inviting them to be able to say, like, hey guys, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm doing, this is the journey I'm on. Who wants to come with me? Like, I would love for you guys to come with me. I would love for you to be there if you are a good fit for the community and if you resonate with the content that I'm doing, because, hey, I know that the content that I'm creating has a very specific intention, and I know it will reach the right people that it's meant to. And if that's you, then, this is an invitation for you to be able to, like, find your home in this community that we are building, or again, find relationship in the service that I am providing, whatever it may be. Because some of you are going to be focused more on kind of like building community in like Discord, and then some of you are going to be working more one-on-one with people. And again, even just the value that you're putting into any of your other work, be it your jewelry, or be it your guided meditations or anything like that. Any of these services are incredibly valuable for people. So I think when you kind of like allow yourself to align with just, again, the energy that I know myself and others on the team are just really starting to feel and be like, yeah, no, 100%. Like, we not only is money fine to be able to ask for, but we literally need to be able to cultivate money. We need to. Like, I'm not saying, like, you can't have a society without money, but in today's day and age, if we want to win the game, we have to play. We have to play in the first place. You can't just opt out, right? So if the game is making money, then let's get good at making money, period, right? Because there is a way. There is a way. Again, I'm not going to say I have all the answers, but basically, again, going back to my model with the Patreon, you guys will be able to accelerate this in different ways because of the different levels within your tiers you'll be able to create. And again, Patreon, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a website where people can support artists with monthly contributions and receive additional benefits, community engagement, one-on-one, joining their on-air broadcasts, very much what we're doing, but in a way that you can do it as well. But if you can build a Patreon over time, if you were to literally be like, okay, I can get, 10 new Patreon signups a month. Okay, sweet. Okay, that's like over $100 a month. And if I were to do that next month, that's an extra, maybe it'll increase by then. Maybe that's like 250 extra in my bank. Okay, and then if I do that again, oh, that went up a little bit quicker. I actually got 20 Patreon signups that month. Oh, now I've got $400 in my bank, and it's only 3 months later. And what happens when you keep doing that? And you keep doing that, you keep doing that, you keep doing that. Guys, if you invest in this in a way, invest your time, because that's what it is. You're investing your energy, investing yourself towards this path. Do not shy away from the idea that each and every single one of you will eventually be earning $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, why not $10,000 a month? And how would that feel? How would that feel? That's going to give you a lot of freedom, a lot of opportunity to be able to do more of the things you want. Plus, it will give you an opportunity to be able to, like, invest in other things and invest in other creators and return the favor in a very cyclical way, right? So it allows you to show up in some super dope ways as well. So I just wanted to be able to kind of like remind you guys that is something that I don't feel is something that, like, is just like an idea. I honestly feel that it's a calling. It's a calling. Like, we, as conscious creators, we need to do it. Unless you have like a trust fund, or unless you won the lottery, or unless you already have, like, money saved up, or, again, for some people, and this is fine too, for some people, they're literally working another job and they have another source of income, and that's great too. Because honestly, guys, like, I wouldn't tell you straight up, like, stop all of your income immediately and start building your Patreon. I would say keep bringing in your income as you build your Patreon, and then eventually transition to what could be eventually just having your Patreon when the time is right. You'll know what that is. Because, again, I have to, side note, like, the Patreon can take time. You're patient with it because it's going to take you a little bit of time to be able to develop your skills, your familiarity, and for people to be able to get to know you, and for more people to be able to find you. But do not shy away from the idea that if you're offering high-end services such as one-on-one, soul coaching, whatever it may be, just make sure, you're not saying you're a licensed psychiatrist and things like that. That's important. But what it is that you're offering, those can be placed at very high value. So the only reason I have that within my Patreon, no one's using it right now, but that's fine for me because I don't tell people about it. It's there, but my focus is more on just being able to support you guys on this level and everything like that, because that's what I want to be able to focus on. But for you guys, if you're working with like 2 or 3 people as some form of coach, and they have access to you through voice messaging and video calls and tarot readings and one-on-one stuff, there are people out there that will easily pay you $300 a month for that, $400 a month for that. So you can work on building your little Patreons, $10, $11 here over time. But in the process of doing that, what would it feel like if you were to actually just start kind of like aiming to be able to say like, hey guys, I've got some exclusive space open for my one-on-one coaching. This is for people who, get to work with me as a way to be able to level up themselves. Let me know if this is interested in something. This is an investment for yourself. And if there are the right people out there, they will find it. Your job is to be an ambassador. And again, those people will easily sign up for, what could be hundreds of dollars. And then as you do that, that can help you kind of like have your focus on other things. And then eventually you may start doing that less if you start focusing more on building the community more. It's up to you. It's up to you. And there's a whole nother conversation there in terms of doing the one-on-one coaching, where I think it's just important and being able to make sure that whatever relationship you're doing with your one-on-one coaching, it's a relationship that you feel you still enjoy and that is healthy. Because I will say that like with the one-on-one coaching, depending on how you set up your guidelines and your parameters and things like that, it can become taxing. It can become taxing, like especially if you're literally like dealing with people who are going through real emotions. And so I would encourage you guys to take a lot of consideration to make sure that you're clearly defining what you're offering in your services. Because if you're just like, okay, hey guys, come talk to me and I'll help like make your life better. And then people come and they'll say like, hey, here's like 20 years worth of trauma that I've gone through. Can you help me heal this? You're just like, whoa, like, hold on. Like, this is like, I am not ready to jump in this pool just yet. So if you can either find a way to either be able to like gently move into that, if it's something you feel called to, but just be aware. Because like I've done like one-on-one soul coaching in the past that wasn't media specific. I enjoyed it for a while, but I was aware of the fact that it was taxing on me. I love doing it. I love doing it because I know I was making a difference in people's lives. I did a great job of doing it, but eventually it got to the point where I'm just like, I don't think this is what I should be focusing on too much right now. What would happen if I shift my focus? And then again, that's where now it's again, me showing up and consolidating and being able to show up for you guys as well. And I mean, side note, if anybody does want to reach out for me for the one-on-one soul coaching, you guys are welcome to. That option's there. And yeah, again, I would encourage you guys just to be able to find a model that works for you and just be aware, that there will be a learning curve when it comes to like the one-on-one coaching. And I think the best way to do that is to be able to make sure that you're communicating clearly what it is you're offering, so that people don't walk into your quote unquote office with like tons of energy that you simply did not agree to handle or are capable of handling. So if there's ever a point within your one-on-one coaching, whatever you may be offering, do not shy away from saying to them, hey, I know what I'm capable of being able to assist with. This is a little bit outside of what I'm capable of offering. Therefore, let's figure out where we can kind of like meet in a different space. So, and hopefully that would be clear before it comes up in some sort of situation and everything like that. So just be aware of that, because I know some of you are leaning towards that idea of being able to help people in more of those one-on-one spaces and everything like that. So if it's something you feel called to, then absolutely. And if it's something that you can narrow around a niche that literally has nothing to do with dealing with, trauma and things like that, because again, I think that's something that, is a very particular special line of work. And again, I think in that case it's important to be able to consider the fact that you need to have some form of professionalism in order to be able to do that before you're going around and giving people advice and everything like that. You guys have to be responsible with that. Feel it out. That's really, really important, because you're interacting with people and you're, making a difference in their life and everything like that. And I encourage you to do it in the best, most open-hearted way that you can for yourself and for others. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're telling people you're going to help them with something that you're quite frankly not capable of helping them with. So you need to know what that is ahead of time. That's very important for you. It's very, very, very important for them as well. But again, if you can find a way to be able to provide some sort of like one-on-one coaching and everything like that, that is in a way much more focused around a specific niche or something like that, it will help with you, because again, it allows you to just be able to make sure that the focus is consolidated around a theme that you are 100% confident in being able to address and handle, whatever it may be. And again, for me, this is media and everything like that, right? I know I could talk to you guys about media 100%. Coming into these meetings is something I'm always excited to be able to do. And it's not taxing on me. These meetings aren't emotionally taxing on me. They're just mentally inspiring, so to speak, and emotionally uplifting, but it's not by any means like emotionally taxing. So be aware of just like, if you're getting into that, be like, like how would this feel, and just be honest with yourself and everything like that. And we can talk more about ways to kind of be able to, again, create a community so it's functioning in a way that's going to allow you to continue to be able to do it in the long run. And that's where we can get more into detail with just kind of like how we're managing our live broadcasts and everything like that. We'll talk more about that another time. Anyways, guys, that was like 45 minutes of me just talking by myself there. I apologize. Was that okay, guys? Like, was that still valuable? You guys still got a lot out of that? Okay, cool. YouTube, did you guys get a lot out of that? Please feel free to let me know. Because if I didn't tell you all that now, I would have had to tell you it later. Now that I've told you now, then we can focus on other stuff later, because that is all valuable information. And it's, you know, we're building stuff here step by step by step. So I want you guys to make sure that you have the foundations. Let's check in with Aizo, and let me know if there's any particular questions that you had following up on what we talked about. Again, we talked about hashtags, we talked about LinkTree going live on YouTube, we talked about just shifting our awareness on currency, routines, schedules, one-on-one stuff. And yeah, I think that's also it. So thank you guys for your patience and for your attention. Aizo, I'll pass it over to you if you would like to even just briefly introduce yourself, and if there's any feedback or any other questions or things you want clarity on, go ahead and let me know, and welcome.
Hi, thanks, Brendon. So yeah, you basically went over a lot of my concerns and questions and curiosity. One thing that I just like recently came to me that I wanted to share was that, you know, starting to really like put myself out there and film these YouTube videos and get a schedule going. You know, like sometimes I would stop, and the reason I would stop was because of fear. And like the fear was always like a 3D kind of fear. Like, you may it be like, am I going to be confident? Am I going to be able to communicate my message properly and look polished, look professional? You know, I was like worried about all these 3D things. Like, am I going to have the right lighting? Am I going to look all right? And once I realized that, like basically because of your guys' support and your guys' emotional, you know, support basically, and understanding, I realized that my fear of failure was basically keeping me from taking action into accomplishing my goal. And if I just stick to what my message is, I know that I can communicate that, whether my lighting isn't perfect or whether, you know, my hair might be a little bit out of place. And like you were saying in like the last broadcast, I mean, live, yeah, just that, you know, hold on, I lost my train of thought, but
you're going to say like, it's good enough. Is that what you're going to refer to?
Basically that you come with like a message that you are trying to communicate, and as long as you get that message, it doesn't really matter that, you know, all the rest of the things are kind of like smaller compared to what, you know, the message that you're trying to get through, which is, you know, the universe expressing itself through you. And so with that, like noticing what my fear was, which, you know, is 3D as well, like the meditations that we do as a team really do help me, because it gives me like, it reminds me in like my busy lifestyle to just stop and just appreciate and focus on my growth and let it process, because, you know, it's so easy to focus on like, what am I doing wrong? And I also, it reminds me to focus on what am I doing right and celebrate that and appreciate all of the new information that I have and the new support that I have that is kind of taking me to the path to accomplish my goals. So yeah, just reminding myself to make time to be appreciative of where I'm at and my growth, and focus more on that versus just like, oh no, I won't be able to accomplish this because of my fears. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, very, very well said. And just kind of like chit chat back and forth on that real quick. And Aizo, welcome again. And thank you so much for sharing. And your feedback is great, because that's exactly what we want, right? Like, we're creating an ecosystem here where we're just kind of like reminding ourselves to be like, oh, like, okay, like keep our focus, you know, like it's okay to be able to, again, like what is failure, right? Like that word failure is probably like something that we could, you know, even just begin to shift our paradigm on, because I think failure is just a stepping stone in a series of lessons, right? Like, what is a failure other than another opportunity to learn? So we have this idea that failure is something that needs to be avoided, when in fact, like, failure doesn't need to be thought of as failure at all. It's just like, oh, sweet, here's ways where I can refine my skill. Oh, there's something that I learned. Oh, I didn't know how to do that, but now I do, right? So like, you're not failing at all. all. As long as you keep moving forward, you're continuing to learn and to grow. And again, even just like the idea that failure is something that's like projected on us by others. So if people tell you, oh, I hated your video, well, it's like, again, going back to what I said, we'll be like, okay, I guess it's not for you, and then I'll block your content and stuff like that, and creating those boundaries, creating those healthy boundaries. And again, you want to be able to surround yourself with people who do see the value in what it is that you do, because it is incredibly valuable. And it is something that, again, isn't just about money. It's about helping people. It's very altruistic. It's about being able to step into something that you feel called to. And you know that. No one else can take that away from you. So I think, again, it's like you said, I really appreciate everybody in the community for showing up and just reminding each other that this is something that we have this effect on each other. So that's really cool. And yeah, being able to focus on the things that you're doing right, and celebrating yourself, like you said, and celebrating each other is super, super important. So like celebrating the fact that like, here you are, hey, like here you are in this meeting, like this in itself is a step, and you showed up in this community because you felt called to. And now it's, you can start to feel, it's like, oh, this is like an excitement. It's like, oh, this feels like, I feel like I'm like in school again, and this is like a school project or something like that. Like, and it honestly should, like in a lot of ways, guys, like I kind of want you guys kind of like join these meetings. You can think of it as like a production studio, but yeah, it should almost feel like a classroom, right? Like it's essentially what it is. And I'm like the TA or something like that, or whatever you think. But here we are as equals, just working along and helping support each other inside of this super cool production related community. Aizo, I know you mentioned before, and we're just going to get close to wrapping up. Curtis, I'll get to be able to pass it to you. I think we only got like 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe, but real quick, Aizo, you mentioned before, just a quick tip, you got a cool item off of Amazon. That's like a light and a camera thing. Are you able to show that, or is it on it right now?
Yeah, I can show you right now.
Yeah, take it and just kind of spin it around. So Aizo was talking about this. So just to give you guys an idea, these items, this little like stand with a lamp and a clip, you can get those off Amazon pretty cheap, $20. So if you got a desk, you can use that. And I don't have one of those, but I think the lighting on it, and the lighting changes on it, like you can adjust the colors and stuff. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for $20. So
oh yeah,
sweet,
great.
sweet. So what was that? What would that be called if you look that up on Amazon? We'll put a link for it into the show notes anyways.
Oh, sorry. I was getting a phone call.
What would that be called? Is that item? Is it lamp desk camera holder? I don't know what
it's like called. Yeah, it's like a selfie
lamp
stick with light.
Selfie stick with light. We'll figure it out. You guys will find it. But
yeah, I'll link it.
Okay, perfect. We'll put it into the show notes for those interested. Aizo, just getting close to wrapping it up. Anything else, or even just kind of, do you have some clarity on your next steps?
Yes, I just wanted to just remember what you were talking about when you said, when you come and you start to talk about your services, start to talk about like what you're doing, you make sure that you're clear with your goal. Like what attracted me to joining your team is that you came on TikTok and you said, my goal is to have 100 conscious media creators who are sustainable, through their own, I apologize, but through their own means. And so like, because that was your goal, like that completely was a magnet to me, because I'm like, wow, I love that. I want to be part of that guy's team. And so if I'm starting something, for me to tell people what my goal is, it's going to help them say like, oh, do I want to help, help her with that goal? Like, yeah, that's something that I definitely agree on. As well as, like you said, be clear on the services that you do provide, and don't be like, oh, I'll help you change your life. It's like, oh, I'll help you eat better because I know about diet, something very specific that you're experiencing and you're educated on, so you can provide that. And with me, I do coaching for health, right? And so what I do in my initial consultations is like, I'll talk to, like, if somebody's interested in being like my, client, I'll talk to them on the phone. I'll be like, hey, what are your goals? What are you looking to get out of this? So if they're saying, oh, I want to cure a disease, I'll be like, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. Like, I'm not, a doctor. So just kind of really understanding and having a good communication to know like what people are looking for and what it is that you can actually provide. But that's all.
Yeah, no, that's great. 100% on that. And we're going to get close to wrapping it up here. So I'm going to have to pass to Curtis, but no, 100% thumbs up on that. And I think that's great. And an invitation for each and every single one of us here, members of the team, anybody who's listening, to start working on getting clear on what your goals are, as well as if you can literally even have kind of like this bigger goal that you can just kind of tell people with, my goal is to help 100 people do XYZ. Like you guys can do that. You guys can say that phrase. Like I honestly, like, again, if I can do it, you can do it too. But again, what I literally say is like, if I'm talking about it on TikTok, and I encourage you guys to do this on your casual TikToks, be like, oh yeah, we're building this super awesome community. If you guys are interested in hearing more, let me know in the chat. Once they ask, you tell them a little bit more. You invite them to leave a comment so you can follow them back and send them a DM with more information. This is like side tactics. We'll get into this another day, but we've talked about it before. It's super useful. But within that, you're explaining what you're doing, and you're basically, again, saying, and you guys could do this. Oh, my goal is to help 100 people. Get more connected with their creative potential, get more connected with their heart. Like you said, live a more mindful life. It can be it could just be that. It could just be like, my goal is to help like 100 people live a more mindful life, or, to be able to like lessen their anxiety through meditation practice or something like that. Right. But yeah, try to get specific, but it could also be broad depending on what it is. If it's kind of ubiquitous, but don't just say it's like, my goal is to help 100 people be awesome. But I mean, at the same time, you could kind of say, you could play with that. I mean, that's kind of what you're doing, right? Like, my goal is to help 100 people just become more awesome. So, which is true. So play with it, find a way, but again, some way to be able to communicate that goal is valuable. Okay, team, if we're over the hour limit on Instagram, if we're not over the hour limit on Instagram, be sure to click the link in my profile so you can find the recording in this, and make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube. We're just going to take 2 more minutes here, and then I'll have to clip this afterwards if we're over an hour. And Aizo, that's good. We can thumbs up on that. Okay, awesome. We can go over some more stuff a little bit later, and again, just to be able to get clarity on other things that you're focusing your content towards. Cool. Thanks for joining, Curtis. I apologize, dude. It's just going to be quick and short today, if that's okay with you. Okay, cool. Go ahead, dude, because I think the audio is a little choppy anyway. So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna save it for another time, but what you were talking about, like with I wanted to bring up engagement and the whole like how TikTok works, and the terms of like staying engaged, like going into your comments, talking about all that, talking to your, and keeping it like kind of like a live stream, but it's for each video. But we could talk about that at a different time. And you talked about the tourist field, good, and a good picture there for like, and then I said being patient with reaping the rewards for your system. So we can talk about that another time.
Cool, man. Yeah. Kind of like it's almost like the permaculture of entrepreneurship in a lot of ways, which I know your mind kind of works in that concept a lot. So exactly. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Curtis, thank you, man. And you're right. Those are some good points to be able to hit upon another time. But just to reiterate, yeah, if you guys are on TikTok, TikTok and Instagram, if people are leaving comments, go back, say thank you, leave a reply. They appreciate that. Like, seriously, if they leave a comment on your video and they don't get a reply, like they won't be too butthurt about it. But for some people, they might be like, oh, I guess they just don't reply to comments. I guess I won't reply in the future. Like, that's literally what you're telling them when you don't reply, assuming, especially if you're a smaller account. Eventually, it's going to get bigger, and it might be harder if one of your videos gets viral. That's understandable. But to the best of your ability, try to set time out of your day to go back to the comments, and even use those as an invitation to be able to say like, hey, thanks so much. If you would like to check out more, you can find my podcast and my Patreon and my Discord channel through my profile link. And we have live broadcasts every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Something like that. You can literally do it. I've done this before. And again, it's literally that invitation. People like, until they hear you say that in a friendly way, they're like, oh, like, thanks. I never would have clicked your profile link. I didn't know that's what was in it. So just giving them the information and help and assist them. So with that said, we're going to wrap up this meeting. It's probably like just over an hour, but that's okay. And yeah, there's always more to be able to talk about. So we'll save it for another day. And yeah, with that said, just thanking everyone again so much for being able to join in. So one more thing I was going to say. Yeah, just the last thing. So again, reminding you just like the power of being able to focus on building regenerative income. It's great to be able to have lump sums and sell jewelry and things like that as you're doing that. As an entrepreneur, eventually you want to be able to have multiple sources of income. That's very, very important. But again, that's the goal of the Patreon. You invest a little bit each month, time-wise, and then that regenerative income becomes the foundation, and that builds and builds and builds. It might start off 100 month this month, and then 200, then 300, and then flash forward a year, and you're literally doing it as a full-time job. So feel the future of the idea that this is going to be a bit of a journey for you, but it's also a very exciting journey, and feel what it will feel like once you get like, your first 30 people signed up on Patreon, and that'll be great. And then already from there, you'll start to find how you'll be able to begin shifting your time and focusing on things, and you'll be able to celebrate the growth of your content and the community's engagement. So cool, team. All right, let's get ready to wrap this up. Just going to ask you guys, can you guys do like a quick like thumbnail screenshot post? Like, yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining in. If you're watching this in the future, click the links down below to join our Discord. You can join on Patreon there, $11 a month to get involved as a leading member. That's where you get the benefits to support you as a conscious media creator within our dope team of conscious media creators. And you can join on there for these conscious media work periods, which are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 3 to 4 p.m. EST. Join our on-air podcast and get full access to Discord chat and access to me as a conscious media creation coach. Send me a DM on Instagram if you guys have any questions. And until next time, farewell, friends. Go team, go. All right, good night, guys, or wherever you are. Okay, bye, guys. Bye. All right, thanks so much. See you again.